I'm doing this for dramatic effect. I hope it works. Okay. That's good. Hey, they turned all that on. Kevin's going to turn the baptistry light out. Kevin, this is the Lord. Turn the baptistry light out. No, Kevin, you have not turned the light out yet. There you, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Okay. This is about as dark as it's going to get in here, okay? Now, we didn't do this with the little kids in here, okay? So, darkness. Darkness. You know, it seems like no matter how hard we try sometimes, we are inundated by the darkness. Dark things happen to us. We find ourselves often walking through life feeling like we're stumbling through the darkness. There are times when, despite our best efforts, we don't have clear-cut direction in life. There are times when, regardless of how things are going for everybody else, it just seems like it's dark just around us. Sickness can make us feel like we're going through the darkness. Relationship problems can make us feel like we're surrounded by darkness. Problems with our children or issues with our children not being happy or not being whole or feeling complete or being bullied can put us in a place of darkness. A lack of understanding other people and other situations can keep us in the dark. I'm sure that all of these things I've just mentioned at some point in time is something you can relate to. A health issue, and you're just in the dark about it. You've seen many physicians. You've been to a lot of doctors. You still don't have any answers. You've tried everything you know how to do. And therein lies the remedy to the dark. When we have exhausted all of our resources and done everything we know how to do, and we find ourselves in the dark, then there is never anything in our lives more precious to us than one tiny little source of light. I have my Bible up here, but I can't read it because it's in the dark. I know it would give me direction if I could just I had enough light in my life. If I had, and I'm in the dark here, brother Marl, I'm in the dark here. Now somebody, was that Jay? Did you turn a light on? Yeah. Well, okay. Come here, Jay. You know, isn't it amazing? This is totally unscripted. How amazing it is, the difference. Would you shine that light right here on this? How amazing it is, the difference one light can make. How amazing it is. The smallest lamp, the smallest amount of light. Now, for safety's sake, it would have been very novel to have lit a match and held that match up and seen the glow of the flame as it made light all around. But this will have to be our match tonight. Isn't it amazing how just one light in the midst of all of this darkness, all the way around, 110 feet across the sanctuary, 50 feet from the front to the back, but one little 3/4 inch lamp with a 1/8 inch bulb illuminates everything crystal clear. One little bit of light. Now, folks, God uses the darkness to emphasize the power of the light. I said he uses all of this darkness to magnify the importance and the significance and the power and the influence and the direction and the peace and the joy that one tiny little light can give. That's what he does. Thank you, Brother Jay, for your kindness. If we can, Tom, let's just come up with some light. We don't have to turn the big lights back on in the closet, but just on the platform and just around. And in the back there, Kevin, under the mezzanine, we can turn those on. God uses all that darkness, all that we don't understand, to strengthen our understanding in the smallest amount of light, with the smallest amount of direction, the smallest amount of hope. Isn't that amazing? I want to read to you 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. Peter tells us this. He was the one who used the keys to the kingdom to usher in the age of the Gentiles. That's the church age for you and I. The dispensation of grace whereby you and I can be saved. Not just the Jews can be saved, but the Gentile nation can be saved. He said, but ye are a chosen generation. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes we feel like the last one picked on the team. How many of you were ever called out on the field and you're going to play volleyball, you're going to play football, you're going to play baseball, you're going to play where they're going to pick for the team? They're going to pick everybody out there and you're going to be the last one picked for the team. Has there anyone ever been in the darkness of being the last one picked for the team? I hate all you other people. Just for a split second, I repent in Jesus' name. Okay. I was always the last person picked. It was like, okay, give me that tall, athletic guy right there. Okay, yeah, give me him. He can run real fast. Well, give me him because he can catch. Give me him because he can really throw the ball. Okay, let's see here. How many of y'all got? I've got 5. How many of y'all got? Well, we got 6. Y'all can have Hudson. It didn't happen to me one time in my life. It happened every game. Every time. Do you understand that before long, that kind of darkness, that kind of wears on you? You know what I'm talking about? You sit in your room and you start thinking about ways you can get back at those people that are mean to you. They never picked me. Well, wait till I'm the CEO of the company and they come in with a job application. Guess what? I'm not going to pick them either. The darkness sometimes forges us to excel, to grow, and to reach higher in an effort to reach the light. You just want to, at some point in your life, be accepted. Be the cool kid. Be the person who was athletic, the person who got picked. So you start trying harder, and you work harder, and you strive, and you do. And before long, you're not even just a member of the team. You're the owner of the team. And all of you are looking at me like, what? Moving on. You're a chosen generation. Thank God somebody picked us. Nobody in my class picked me. None of my friends picked me. My own family gave up on me and sold me into adoption. But the Lord chose me. I'm chosen. Woo! I'm chosen. Everybody needs to just say it like you are. I'm chosen. Come on, be dramatic. I'm chosen. Like you're trying to clone it to some nerd. I'm chosen. Hey, what about you? You know? But stay with me. Stay with me. Just let me have fun tonight, okay? You're a royal priesthood. You're not even not only chosen, but you're royalty.
All right now. Yeah.
That's what it says. You're a holy nation. We've been talking about separated from some things and separated to some things. That's what the Bible said we're supposed to be. And a peculiar people. That means separate or set apart for a design and a purpose. We're set apart for the design of God. We're chosen, we're royal, we're holy, and we're set apart. That we should, this is what the operative thing we should do, we should show forth the praises of Him who has called us out of 5 minutes ago darkness into His marvelous light. And I will tell you what, there is no light so marvelous than when you're in total darkness. There is no light so marvelous than when you're in total darkness and you see the tiniest little bit of light. You've heard me tell about it before. My parents, growing up, the people who adopted me, they loved to go to caves. They loved caves. What intrigues people so much about going to a cave? Maybe it's because it's a subterranean world. It's totally different. It's total darkness. And at every cave experiences tonight we ever had, the glib little guide, the little pencil-headed guy with a little mounting hat, and the flashlight with 12 D batteries in it, that long, got us down to the belly of hell as we looked over the rail into what they call the bottomless pit. That's in every cave. There's a bottomless pit in every cave. I just want to give you a little spelunking 101. There's a bottomless pit in every cave. Now, first of all, you look over the rail, you don't have any idea how deep it is because it's dark. Okay? And they say, back in 1947, when 2 college students made their way down this crevasse and walked into this room, at the very lowest level of the cave, they peered over with their tiny little flashlight. You know, 1947 flashlight. Think of how bright that was. And they peered over the ledge and shined their flashlight down into the abyss. They lit a torch, Brother Chris, and they threw that torch over the ledge. And they watched it as it went down, down, down. And finally, it went down so far they couldn't see the light anymore. So we feel confident that this is the doorway to hell. This is the entrance to Gehenna, the underworld. Every cave guy tells that same lame story. All it means is that about 20 feet down, there's mud in the bottom of this hole. And they threw the torch over and it went down, stuck in the mud, and sunk under the mud. The light went out. They thought, no bottom. The devil lives down there. About 18,000 feet to the core of the earth down there. And if you had a real light, shine it down there, you could see that old torch. About that much of it sticking out of the mud today. They get you down to where's the lowest place, and they tell the scariest story. And you're leaning over the rickety edge, and the ledge, the handrail is just rickety like this, got 2 screws, and one of them's out. And the handrail's just dancing. And they get you over there, and they say, don't lean on the rail. The last people leaned over, you know. They say, now listen, stand right where you are, because what we're going to do is we're going to turn the lights out. Well, man, every kid in the whole place, every woman, everybody just grab the hold of the person right next to you, no matter whether you know them or not. Snag that person. They say, okay, 3, 2, 1. The lights go out. And they say, okay, now here's what we want you to do. Now, Chris, you come from West Virginia, a lot of caves. They say, now, put your hand in front of your face as close as you can. Now shake your hand and see if you can see your hand. And you're steadily looking in the absence of light, which is the definition of darkness. And instantly, the lights come back on and everybody's standing there. You ever seen a whole room full of people standing there going, that guy must get a kick out of that every time that happens, man. That'd be the highlight of the whole trip. Hey, look, oh, she's still over there, you know. Every cave has the darkest part. Every cave has the bottomless pit. Every cave has its story. But there's nothing so comforting in the absence of light that when the lights finally come back on, no matter whether they are bright or whether they're even very dim, hope immediately starts to be restored when the light comes on. The Bible says, and Jesus told his disciples, he said, ye are the light of the world. He said, a city that is set on a hill, well, son, it can't be hidden. You're going to see it from miles away. He said, neither does a man light a candle and put a basket over it. But no, he takes the basket off and lets the candle stand in the middle of the darkness, providing light for everyone that's in the room. He said, that's what I've called you to be in this world, and that's what I've called you to do, is be a light in the midst of the darkness. But I will tell you this, there would be no appreciation for light at all unless there was some darkness. I said we'd take it completely for granted. If there was no darkness, then we never appreciate the light. If there were no sin, how could we ever appreciate redemption from sin? If there were no bad things in life, then how could we appreciate the good things in life? If there was never any illness, how could we appreciate being fully healed? There were never any darkness, then how could we even tell we were walking in his marvelous light? Somebody say amen to that. So many of us walk around cursing the darkness, cursing the issue and cursing the problem, instead of being emphasized and reaching out to the smallest little aspect of life. I like to think that we've said it before, that midweek here at Calvary is a refueling stop. It's where you come, Brother Carney, you get your spiritual batteries recharged to make the rest of the week. This is where I get my fuel. This is where I plug in. This is where I receive that which I need. Having walked in darkness all week long, I come to this place to be healed, this place to be restored, this place to be blessed, this place to be encouraged. And if I am walking in darkness, I'm going to get to this place and find somebody who has the light. I want you to know that it's counterproductive for two people that are in darkness to call each other and say, hey, let's get together. Let's go sit in the dark together. Or let's go be in the dark together. How counterproductive is that? But how amazing and wonderful and powerful and revealing and healing and restoring it is to say, you know what, I'm in the dark this week, so I really want to find somebody who's walking in the light. I really want to find somebody who's the source of light. I want to find somebody who can lead me to the light. I want to find someone who has enough spiritual charge in their life to get me into the light. Amen? Darkness has traditionally been associated with things, all things bad. I don't like to be in the dark. I still have a night light. 56 years old. I'll have a night light till the day I die. So take that, darkness. I don't like to be in the dark. I want to be able to at least be able to make out the bedposts and things on the floor so I don't have a bad experience. I have a furniture finder on the end of both of my legs. And I've found many pieces of furniture in the dark. I'm a professional furniture finder. But I want a night light on. Rachel, when she was very small, she was forced to sleep in her room. She did not sleep in our bed all the time. Just sometimes. Well, quite a bit. But it was one of those nights, Christy, that she's going to sleep in her bed because I'm so tired, I'm about to die. And I cannot take her kicking me, hitting me, whack. And that's with a leg, not an arm. Wonk. Pushing that leg off, And she's like, here's me and Sister Hudson. We are like this in the bed, and here's Rachel. I either get the head or the feet every night. Either one of them. I don't care. We get them. With all of that, one of those nights, I told her, I said, you're sleeping in here? She's very little. You're sleeping in here? Don't get up. I said, now listen, I'm going to pray for you. Lord, help her lay in here. Help her sleep in here. She barely understands all that. Now, Lord, comfort her, send an angel, bless her, touch her, heal her, be with her tonight. In Jesus' name. I said, now, baby, don't worry. I said, the Lord is with you. He's right here in this room. He's got his great big arms around you. And you can sleep because the Lord has his hand on you, his arms wrapped around you. You're his little baby tonight. Try it out. So I walked down to the bedroom feeling like a dog. She says, "You think she'll stay in there?" I said, "I don't know." I lay down, so tired. She starts crying. Oh, God. That's just the worst when they start crying. And then they just start screaming. And then they scream for an hour. And you're still not resting. And I said, "Baby, the Lord is with you. It's okay. Jesus is right there. Remember, angel, arms, mercy, God." She said, "Dad, I know that Jesus is here. I know he's right here by my bed." She said, "But can I come in your room?" I said, "No, he's right there. Remember, he's right there." "I know he's here, Daddy." She said, "But I just need somebody with skin on him." Here, but I just need somebody with skin on him. Man, her faith had exceeded its limits. Her childlike faith, the scripture talks about, in the midst of the darkness, said Emily, had exceeded its limit. It had gotten to the point that she was okay for a while, but her Jesus needed some skin on her. So I went and got her, carried her in my room, laid her between us, tried to get some sleep. Wasn't nobody going to sleep after that. Darkness has always been associated with bad things. Isaiah chapter 45:7 says, "I form the light and create darkness." Everybody says darkness is of the devil. The devil's in the darkness. The devil created darkness. All the things in this world that are dark are of the devil. Well, I'm sorry. Bust your bubble. I form the light and create darkness. This is going to be the mind blower. Are you ready? I make peace and create evil. Sister Aaron, who created Satan or Lucifer? The Lord. The devil didn't just materialize, just show up one day, and the Lord's doing all these great things, and he's in the light and everything about him. The Bible says that in heaven there will be no sun, moon, or stars, because Jesus Christ will be the light of the city. That his radiance, his countenance will glow with a light so bright there'll be no sun in heaven, that all light will emanate from him. Satan didn't just show up one day as the evil lord of the underworld of darkness. I'm the Lord of darkness. No, the Lord created him also to be the angel of light. And the archangel of worship and music in heaven. Is it any wonder today that millions around the world are influenced with the dark side of music? It's because that's his domain. That's what he does. That's what he brings to the show. See what I'm saying? Is that all right? Are y'all with me? You're all kind of looking at me like, oh. Some people on their cell phones, some people on their, It's in the darkness that God does his best work. He said, I form light, I create darkness, I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all things. So even the Lord makes dark things. And makes the darkness, and allows darkness to come into our lives to bring emphasis, I said earlier, to the light. For he who hath called us out of darkness into his, not just any kind, into his marvelous light. I'm so thankful that we don't have to forever dwell in darkness, but we can dwell in the light. And when we come to him, he imparts a portion of himself through his spirit that lives in us so that we too become the light of the world. In Scripture it says that Jesus proclaims himself, I am the light of the world. But then later he says he's going to send his disciples on to Jerusalem. And he said, I want you to wait there until you're endued with power from on high. And he said, when that spirit comes to live within inside of you, then you will become the light of the world. Is your light shining tonight? Our little kids sing, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. How about your light? Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm going to let it shine. Huh? Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. How's your light? How are your spiritual batteries? They doing good? Need a recharge? Need a refuel? Can you even tell anymore when you need a refuel? Woo, boy, hope y'all got your steel toes on tonight, honey. Can you even tell anymore when you need a refuel? Do you know when you're gripey and you're fussy and you're nasty and you're mean, you're ugly? Does it come to you about the time you kick the cat completely across the room that, man, I might need to go to church? You say something harsh to your wife that would never otherwise come out of your mouth. I need to get back to a place spiritually. Or you shun, or you distance, or you're ugly in your spirit. And you say, you know what, I used to didn't be that way. What's happened to the light in my life? Well, we have what we call church services. And this is where you come and we service the congregation on Sundays and Wednesdays and sometimes on Fridays and Saturdays and prayer meetings, sometimes on Monday night. This is our opportunity for the vehicle of life to receive its service. This is our soul saving station, like a big heavenly service station. Let me say this for just a minute. God left no doubt in Isaiah 45 that he was the ultimate authority in this world. When he said, I form the light, I create darkness, I make peace, I create evil, I, the Lord, do all things. The buck stops there. He's the ultimate authority. Look no further. You don't have to look for anything else. You don't have to search for anything else. Heard a song on the radio today. I don't know who sings it, but somebody here is going to be able to tell me. There's a guy singing. He said, I have walked, da-da-da-da. I have run, da-da-da. These, is that Bono?
Bono, it's YouTube song.
These city walls, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. He talks about his journey through life. Climbed the heights, been through the valleys, been to foreign lands, pursued earthly gain, wealth. But the rhetorical phrase in the chorus, Shane, is the same thing. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. And you know what? I listened intently. I turned it up. I listened intently to that song because I wanted to know that maybe somewhere on the ethereal journey of his life, being a celebrity, one of the most powerful celebrities in the music world, I wondered, Larry, by the end of the song, did he ever say, but now I have found what I'm looking for? No. He just goes on to the end of the song. And the last refrain, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. And the song ends. Wow. Here's a guy that's in the spotlight 24/7, 365, a multi-million-dollar entertainer. Sold millions upon millions of records around the world, but he's still singing about being in the dark. Isn't it amazing that money doesn't make people happy? Fame and fortune doesn't make people happy. Riches doesn't complete one's life. But walking in the light and the fullness of who that light is and where the source of that light comes from, and knowing that you can bring your children and your friends and your loved ones out of darkness into the light, would have to be the most wholesome, wonderful, powerful feeling in the world, is to bring someone to the light. Can you imagine someone who's been born in darkness? They say a person who's born in total darkness and lives in total darkness, that they never develop eyes in their eye sockets. Because when you're born in the absence of light, then your body never feels like it has to create or generate eyeballs in the sockets to see. So they have had people who have been born or captured or been in zero light, and where their eyes would be, there would just be tissue, but it would not be fully formed, and they would be totally blind, having lived in the darkness. You go right now to any cave anywhere in the world, and there are creatures that dwell in caves. And look this up, because some of you are looking like, I don't believe that. I ain't never heard that before. Well, just go. There are catfish in ponds and subterranean pools that are blind. They cannot see. All the crickets underground, the crickets, they cannot see. You understand? Do you understand that most bats, have you ever heard, well, that person right there, they're blind as a bat. Did you know that 97% of all bats are totally blind? That they communicate with sonar by sound waves and can leave a cave, travel over 100 miles a night and back to the cave to the exact same perch in that total darkness with no sight at all? It's because they're become adapt to living in total darkness. You know what? We've got good reason to flee the darkness because, to be honest with you, there's so much in life I want to see. There's so much in life I want to experience. I don't want to remain blind. I don't want to be blinded by sin. I don't want to be blinded by the lack of the light. I want to come into the light. I want to come to where the light is. I want to be around the children of the light. I want to be in the atmosphere of the light. I don't want to be in the seedy darkness doing something in a corner somewhere that I know better than to do. I want to be brought into his marvelous light. So God allows the darkness that we walk through, the valleys that we go through, to emphasize the power and the wonder and the glory of the light and the ability to get us from one point to the next with direction. Can somebody say amen? Amen. I'm just about finished. I hope this lesson helps you better understand the darkness you're going through. Okay? Oh, I have all these notes and so little time. Are you ready? Jesus was born at night in the dark because the angels lit up the midnight sky singing glory to God in the highest, and the shepherds saw them, and the three wise men saw the star up in the heavens in the night sky, and the greatest thing that ever happened on the face of the planet happened in the darkness. Think of that. Well, that didn't impress you, I can tell. I see. Jesus prayed his greatest prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane in the very early hours of the morning when he took Peter, James, and John right after they stepped out of the sailboat and walked in. Nobody got that. And they went to the garden, okay, and Jesus said, stay over here. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to pray. And just pray with me. I'm fixing to be delivered. They didn't even know what that meant. Jesus prayed so powerfully. The Bible said that sweat appeared as great drops of blood and fell from his brow. And he prayed for an hour, and he walked back over to Peter, James, and John, his brother and two disciples. His brother James, his real earthly brother, had the same mother, Mary, and two of his best friends, and he said, hey, wake up. They went to sleep while he was praying because it was in the dark. He said, what's wrong with you guys? Can you pray with me for an hour? The Son of Man's about to be delivered. He goes over and he prays again, prays for another hour, comes back. He says, hey, it's at night, it's way up in the hours of the morning. Are you not with me? Do you don't understand the impact that's happening in my life? I'm about to be delivered up to the Sanhedrin. And he went back and he prayed again. And he came back and they were asleep way up in the early morning. What'd he say? This is so, I hope I never hear him say this to me. He said, sleep on. Sleep on. He said, do what it is that you do. He said, I'm about to be delivered, and you will not be prepared for what's coming on you when I'm delivered up. They fell asleep, but Jesus prayed his greatest prayer, most sincere prayer in the middle of the night. Jesus showed his greatest mercy in the darkest hour because the Bible said, the third hour of the day, okay, and Jesus was crucified then in the midday. The sun was blackened and hid its face. And in that darkness, Jesus showed his greatest forgiveness when he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He showed his greatest forgiveness in Jesus showed his greatest power over darkness as he resurrected from the tomb in total darkness. One day he's going to show his greatest redemptive power when he comes back. He splits the eastern sky. He returns with all power in heaven and earth in the midst of a world that has plunged itself into darkness. It was John chapter 8, verse 12. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Let me just say this. When we're in situations that we don't understand and we're walking through darkness that we have never walked through before, start looking for the light by faith.
Don't focus on the darkness. Don't focus on what you can't do. Don't focus on what you can't see. Don't focus on areas that you can't change. Focus completely on searching, looking for, moving toward any source of light by faith. Even the tiniest source of light just a few minutes ago, Brother Bradley, made a difference in a whole big dark sanctuary. Focus on the light.
I've said it before. When you're down, don't call someone else who's down. If you're walking through the darkness, don't call someone else that's walking in a darker place than you. If you're going through the darkness, then, hey, find somebody who's walking in the light. And say, man, I don't know what it is. I'm just going through it this week. And then let someone shine the light of God's love on you and say, hey, listen, it's all right. I've been right where you've been. I want to lift you up. I want to pray for you right now. And the tiniest little match is ignited. Saw this on Facebook this week. It was the inspiration for this lesson. There was a guy in a lighted room, and he lit a match. And he held it over next to the wall. And he shined a light on the match and its burning flame right on the side of the wall. And the only shadow you could see was the shadow of the matchstick, because light leaves no shadow.
The smallest amount of light. The tiniest thing that I can think of is a match. I don't know how I could create less light than a match. One single match. And you know what? I've been camping, hunting, in dark times where one match was the difference between life or death. Or at least you're going to think you're going to die if you don't start a fire. One match made the difference. What if you're that match for someone who's stumbling through the darkness? They don't need much, honey. Brother Young, they don't need much. They just need you to have enough just to light one match in their life. Just one kind thing. Just one little bit of hope. Just one phone call. Just one text. Just one overture toward them in their darkness. Saying, hey, listen, I've been right where you are. I know exactly what you're going through. For he who has called you out of darkness
into his marvelous light. Would you stand with me tonight? Paul and Silas sang a song in prison. But they not only sang their song, Sister Bradley, but the Bible said they sang it at a certain time.
All right.
Whew. When was that, Sister Bradley? In the midnight hour. In the midnight hour. Wow. Paul and Silas sang a song in the midnight hour. The Bible says that they must have sat there loud enough, because it said all the prisoners heard them and the jailer heard them. So they wasn't just, down there in the darkness saying, oh Lord, help us, we need you today. Oh, I'm about to die in a horrible way. No. they sang so loud, so proud, so full of faith in the midst of the darkness that the Bible said that all the prisoners heard them, and the jailer heard them, and God heard them in the darkness hour. And in the darkest time of their lives, the Bible says that the prison bars began to shake, and the foundations of the prison were stirred up, and they broke apart. And the Bible said that every door in the prison was opened, and everyone's bands were loosed, and they ran out of that prison. Let me tell you something. Could you close your eyes? You're going to find out something. It's going to be dark. Be dark. You close your eyes, you're going to be dark. Now, Lord, I've walked in this kind of darkness before. Lord, I've been unsure before. Lord, things I didn't understand before. It's just like when I close my eyes, I can't see any good, any light. But Lord, even when I can't see, you're still the Lord of all. Even when I don't have direction, I know you do all things well. Even when I'm walking through the darkness, you said that you create the light, and it's your will to call me into that marvelous light. So Lord, as I hear your voice and I gently begin to open my eyes, I see light all around. I see light all around. And in that light, I receive that touch of your Spirit. I receive that encouragement I need. I receive that joy of the Lord, in which the joy of the Lord I find my strength. And Lord, help me to be that light. The Bible said, let your light so shine before men that they might see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So Lord, we stand tonight. All of us stand in transition from the darkness to the light. We ask that you would walk with us and go with us and keep us by the power of your Spirit. Shine the radiant light of your love and mercy down on us, and help us to be a light to our fellow man. Help us to have a word to say, a text or a card or a letter or an email or just a phone call. God, help us to walk in the light and be purveyors of the light of your love.